Welcome to another episode of the Capital Playbook. My name is Charles Williams. I am the owner and managing member of Pioneer Realty Capital. And today we are so pleased to have a special guest on our show today, Mr. Weiner. Mr. Weiner is with the Wehner Multifamily. And we're going to talk about a topic that many individuals who are transitioning into commercial real estate, especially as an owner, that you absolutely want to know. You want to know what is the purpose of a professional project or a professional property management company and how they can add value to you. But before we get into our conversation today in our podcast, we have a couple of housekeeping things that we absolutely want to discuss. One, if you're watching this on YouTube, do us a favor, subscribe. Our subscribership is going up. We're approaching 200. And that's certainly you should be congratulated for supporting our show, and we ask that you continue to do that. Also, hit the like button if you like this episode, and also when you subscribe, click the little bell. That way you're notified when we have a new episode. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, do the same thing. Like it, subscribe, support what we're doing here because we're trying to help individuals learn more about commercial real estate to get into this capital playbook so that you can win at this game that we call commercial real estate. But to get into our discussion, please give your attention to Mr. Weiner. Mr. Weiner, how are you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Charles?
I'm doing fantastic. Yeah. So you have been in this space about 14 years.
Yeah, about 14, 15 years.
Yeah. Yes. Managing properties
here in started here in DFW.
Okay.
I grew up in Southern California. I'd lived there till 2006.
Okay.
Moved out here, bought an 80 unit and a 60 unit, and self-managed those for a few years, and then it launched a property management company.
Okay. So you were that guy who collected a little bit of coins, some money. And you say, I want to get in the multifamily business. I want to become a landlord. Right?
Yeah, so I actually made most of that money on a few duplexes and a few condos in Southern California that I had bought right out of college. I graduated in 2000 from UC Santa Barbara. And as you may know, real estate went through the roof through about 2000, about the end of 2005, 6.
Right.
And I remember it's a very clear memory in my head when I went into one of the duplexes, and this was at the end of 2005, and the cleaning lady, Rosa, was telling me how she was buying a brand new house, was all excited, and she told me that she proceeded to tell me that she was getting a very large no-income loan, and that kind of really spooked me. And I said, congratulations. As I left that duplex, I called a friend of mine that was a broker and told him to list everything.
Wow.
So I don't want to say that I'm super smart, but I had an intuition and some luck along the way.
So you're saying if Rosa can get a house,
$470,000 stated income loan,
you're like something's bad about to happen.
Yeah, I'm paying her $75 to clean an apartment.
Right.
So that's when
So you could see the writing on the wall.
Well, I had gotten very lucky in that market.
Yeah.
I knew I did. I've always been about real estate or ownership at least.
Right.
And I was working in land development. I wasn't in the property management or brokerage space at all. But it's just, just common sense. When you start giving out debt to people that can't afford debt, it's time to leave before everybody else leaves.
Yeah.
Right?
So you cashed in your chips.
Yeah. And I looked across the United States where I wanted to reinvest it through a 1031 exchange and just quit my job. I liked Dallas-Fort Worth at that time because it was very affordable, and I liked the fact that it was a Fortune 500 friendly city and that it had a large airport. And so I just came out here and started pounding the pavement looking for deals.
Okay, wow. So you found your first couple of deals because you bought a couple multifamily properties. And then you start managing these.
Well, actually, first I hired a property management company.
Okay.
I didn't do a very good selection.
Okay.
And, but I was very involved. The idea was, I'm going to help through some of the remodel and things like that. And then I'm going to go to Costa Rica, surf, maybe start a propane distribution business. You know, I'm an entrepreneur at heart and come from that type of family. So best laid plans. It didn't work out that way. Within 3 months, I undiplomatically fired the management company.
Undiplomatically?
Yeah, I didn't use the best language, and it's not the same way I would handle that problem now, but I was in my 20s.
Right.
So I get a pass, right?
Right.
And then I met my wife.
I can only imagine what you said, but anyway.
Yes.
I'll stop thinking about that.
Yeah, you told me this is a G-rated show, so. And then a few months later, I met my wife at church. And,
at church.
Yes. So that's kind of then my seeds got sowed here, and I just started, I started representing buyers from Southern California and South Florida.
So, let me ask you a couple of questions about your experience with the property management, because this is important to our audience, and because we have several of individuals who are retiring. They're doing exactly what you did. They somehow they've earned some money, and they know that real estate is a great investment for long-term fixed income.
Right.
But there's a business side.
There's operating the daily operations.
To the real estate.
Yeah.
So you brought in a third party to operate this real estate, the business side for you.
Correct.
And within a short period of time, it didn't work out.
Right.
What were some of the things that you saw were problems? And then if you were to do it again, could you have foreseen some of these red flags?
Yes. They didn't have the podcast, the learning things back 14, 15 years ago. Right. So there's a lot of mistakes that I wouldn't have had to make back then.
Okay.
But when I went out there, I was kind of eager to get somebody involved. The actual person that, and he's now deceased, so I don't think he's a morally decrepit person or anything. Right. But he's more of a salesman than an operator. He helped me find one of the deals that was a failing deal from one of his clients, and so there was some sort of trust there. I didn't really vet enough and understand the industry enough. I could afford to have that misstep because, I'm in my mid to late 20s. I don't have another job. I could be on the property at all times. And so I didn't let it fall apart while he was there. But I just really wasn't getting the value. Once I started meeting his employees, which really management business is, of course, there's great processes. We have proprietary technology that systemizes a lot of things with regards to maintenance and water usage and stuff. But really, at the end of the day, if you have the right people. In fact, at the beginning, I didn't have as great processes, but when I started my business, it was all about finding the right people. So if I have the right people, if I have the right person at that front desk in the office, and I have horrible processes, guess what? A lot of times it works out fine. If I have great processes and the wrong people, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans.
So it's a people business.
It's a people business. And then I just used my intuition. I mean, I was already in a business environment before that. I was an employee with Lennar Land and Kovnanian, and I did finance for a few years. And so I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs and stuff, so decent at reading people. When I started to get to know his staff, it just was not run in a professional. You could just tell when you met with the people, and so I know they're making hundreds of judgment calls a week on my property, right? And so when the results weren't, no progress was being made. The same thing was said to me over and over and over again. I lost faith in their ability, and so. I think I would have done okay if I were there all the time and I had the management company that had good people, maybe not the greatest processes, but that wasn't the case.
Okay. So in looking back at that, individuals who are getting into this absolutely want to take the time to thoroughly vet who's going to
team.
Meet the team. Who's going to be there on site?
Right.
Who's going to represent you? And I really like the one point that you made is that group of people, they're making judgment calls.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds a week.
Yeah.
And if you have a very large building, maybe hundreds a day.
Right.
And so you need to have confidence, and there's the normal social cues that we all have,
Right.
especially if you said these are people near retirement. They've been around the block. They have the wisdom to determine that.
Yeah.
You know, if you go into a property and the manager's got a big ketchup stain on her shirt, looks like she hasn't combed her hair in a week, then you can take the leap that's not going to most of the time work out for you.
Right.
Now, there's exceptions to the rule, but I don't want to bet on exceptions.
Right. That's a good point. Don't bet on exceptions.
Right.
Wow, very good. So you purchase this. You figure out real quickly that, you know what, the company I hired just doesn't work. Now, from what I understand, instead of going out and hiring another property management company,
right,
you decided you could do a better job doing it yourself.
I just thought it was the most efficient thing for me to do at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was not employed.
Right.
So I was in a position, I was in my 20s,
mm-hmm.
lots of energy,
mm-hmm.
and I wanted to learn more about it. I kind of learned the tip of the spear
mm-hmm.
While I had the management company there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd come from a business focused family,
mm-hmm.
father, and so I just figured if I really set my mind to this, I can kind of set it, get it stable, and then if I'm going to Costa Rica, I can hand it to a management company and just have an easy layup for them.
Okay. Well, clearly I don't know if you made it to Costa Rica, but you're here in Texas today.
Yes, I am. I live in Dallas. Office. We're in Richardson now. We just moved from Dallas to Richardson.
Right. So at some point you start.
But I do spend time in Costa Rica every year.
Okay. So at some point you're managing your property, mm-hmm. and you're starting to like this management business.
Well, here's at that point, when I decided I was going to stay here,
mm-hmm.
The first thing is you go to the shiny object. So I got my broker's license. I was going to represent buyers because I had this whole experience,
mm-hmm.
In the first year that I was there. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't recommend that to a lot of different personalities.
Right.
I am blessed with some natural God-given talents
mm-hmm.
that helped me be successful. Mm-hmm. I built the business in 10 years to 25,000 units.
Wow.
Started on a futon with a laptop. Right?
Okay.
So I do have some natural instincts and abilities that probably the general public doesn't have. But remind me what the point was.
So what we're talking about is that you start managing this yourself.
Yeah, it wasn't a love for management.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I started representing buyers from Southern California and in South Florida, and basically putting ads in little real estate newspapers and magazines in those areas, very cheap, low circulation newspapers, and some calls come in, and then I'd source deals and walk them through. And when they came in, I'd drive through the different deals, and I'd have I had a background for a few years in finance, and high finance, real estate. Real estate underwriting is basically basic math compared to some of the finance I had done in the past. And so I went through and I would show the people the deals, and I got pulled into third party kicking and screaming. It wasn't a dream of mine, right? So a lot of times it was, hey, we really want to do this deal. We've heard so many horror stories, and we drove by a few of your properties. We were really, for us to be comfortable with this deal, we need you to manage it. So that's how I got pulled into the business, where I was doing it on a third-party basis around 2007, about mid-2007. We didn't incorporate till 2008. So I was probably not doing it under a legal license the first 6 months. But 2008 is when we incorporated. But that's how I got into the business.
Okay.
And then it gradually grew. And at that point, I could get backup staff and start delegating a lot of the tasks that weren't a good use of my time. And it was very beneficial for me to kind of be in the trenches there at the beginning to really know what people are doing. So that's kind of how it evolved to that.
Yeah. So now today you said 25,000.
Yeah, that was through. Yeah, it grew to about 25 through 2019. I think we're at about 27,000. Yeah.
So clearly, in terms of managing property, you figured out some things that work that give you that set you apart from perhaps your competition.
Sure.
What would you say some of the key things are that makes your management style, your property management style, your processes better than perhaps your competition?
Well, our really mission statement of our company and why I started it, and what I thought in my head when I terminated undiplomatically the other management company was, that guy's treating that money like my money like it's mine. He doesn't really care about it, right? So my mission statement and the way I started the company was, if I'm going to do this third-party management, I'm going to treat the client's asset and finances just like they're mine. And from the very top, I always acted in that way. And employees and people that you're recruiting to your business, they see it. Most of them will mimic it. The ones that don't fit into that culture end up getting slaughtered.
Right.
They get terminated or they just don't want to work there. And so that culture, I think, is what really separated us from the pack. I can go into the proprietary technology. Yes, we have Suite Inspector, 300-point system at Due Diligence that aggregates, on a 200 unit, it'll aggregate 60 to 70,000 data points after we physically looked at it. And I built an app on that or had an app built for me on that. We have a lot of those different systems and processes. But to me, I think the biggest difference, the biggest differentiator is just the attitude and the culture to the client and to those assets.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that you defined that by stating that you started with a mission statement. Yeah. And that mission statement is that clear mission for your employees to mimic and kind of guide them as they're making those hundreds of decisions a day, maybe an hour on behalf
and that's not an error-free, I make mistakes with my own buildings and my own, whether replace that toilet with this one or that one, I make mistakes. But you tend to make a lot fewer mistakes when you're treating it like your own money.
Right.
Even a person who doesn't have grand intelligence in this space is going to perform at a much superior level when they're treating it like it's their own.
Absolutely. Now, you did talk about technology, and you mentioned you started in 2007. It's 2022. How have the advancement in technologies helped you in terms of managing commercial real estate assets, particularly apartments today? Has it been? Do you use a lot of technology?
Yeah, we use a lot of technology. There's so many different third-party techs that I'm not the expert on. I'm a master delegator, right? Okay, right. But, when I started my business, we were using QuickBooks and a homemade rent roll up to about 2010. Then it was a huge leap in tech when we just had a property management platform. Right. Then, that we've had some proprietary tech. I was ahead of the curve. I probably should have really marketed it out. Some of the markets caught up in the last 6-7 years of Suite Inspector, that full aggregator, and that due diligence tool that helps us be within 5 to 10% of accuracy on.
So a Suite Inspector, what exactly does that do?
So they go in. So if somebody puts a property under contract in the normal situation, they're doing their due diligence. We'll send somebody out and they do a template for each, right off of an app. They do a template for each unit type. Then a day or two later, we'll have a crew walk all of those units with that template in place, and it'll have a full takeoff of every item, a full takeoff list of every single item in that unit. So you're looking at, efficiency to 3 bedrooms. Obviously, there's a different amount, but and it's a full 360 walk of the unit. So you turn right, and if there's an outlet, it's easy as a click of enable outlet, and you drag it right into the place it is. So that when somebody comes, they mark it 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. 1 needs to be replaced. 2, major repair. 3, minor repair. 4,
Wow.
So, and then it aggregates all that data through the cloud, and then we'll have full lists, and we have costs for each of those items. So it aggregates all that data. We'll know exactly, how many bad toilets you have, exactly what the cost is. We'll have it broken down by unit, It'll have averages on an average unit turn cost in terms. It doesn't have the labor, but it has all of the material.
Okay.
Which is a large portion of that equation.
So
we try to automate the underwriting of the labor,
Right.
and that's a fool's errand.
Yeah. Well, with those things changing, so you use that to create your maintenance budget?
Or the CapEx. So
Okay.
if we go into building, we're doing our due diligence, we do the market survey typically before that. But we know, hey, look, property, Acme a property, same vintage, catty cornered to our building, and 3 or 4 other ones. Okay, they have brand new vinyl plank, granite countertops, brushed nickel fixtures throughout, and we have the old 70s and 80s stuff, or the subject property has old 70s, 80s stuff. They're making 150 bump, and then we find what we need to do to match to hit and we never want to be the first adopter.
Right.
So we don't lead the market as a property management company. If it's already proven and established in the market, we will match that property. And so then look, we're going to have 5 or 6 units that turn a month on average on this 100-unit building. So we know 5 or 6 units are automatically going to need those upgraded things to achieve the higher rents. And so we have a formula in our whole operating forecast, or budget is what some people call it. We'll have a full forecast, and then we bring in the data that comes from that interior score sheet from the suite inspector, and it helps us to be very, very accurate.
Okay, wow. So I can see,
and we can do that in about 3 days.
Right.
So how do you get 70,000 data points with that accuracy 3 or 4 days?
I can see how that adds value to that owner who's allowing you to represent them as the operator, property manager of that property, because now you're helping them understand how to increase value. If they need to make improvements, or just really controlling that cost.
Yeah, or skeletons in the closet, right?
Yeah.
No, hey, look, there's 52 broken refrigerators on this 100-unit deal.
Right.
You can take the industry averages and throw it in the trash can. This particular deal, and I can tell you which unit. Right. I can tell you which units they're in as well. Yeah. Right.
So with that being the case, that you add that kind of value, at what stage, if I'm a guy who's looking to purchase a multifamily property, at what stage do I get you involved? Because
immediately. So even when you're looking at, we want people to have looked at the deal, done at least an analysis with it. We don't want everything sent to us, but we will do preliminary forecasts.
So that's before we put it under contract, or after we put it under contract?
Before.
Really? Wow.
So you have to submit through our online portal at WehnerMultifamily.com. And it has a $100 fee. It doesn't even cover our costs.
Right.
It's
how could that cover 3 days worth of work?
No, that's not the due diligence.
Oh, okay.
That's to do the preliminary forecast.
Okay.
Which on the revenue side will be pretty accurate. On the expense and the repairs and maintenance, it's impossible to know by looking at a building.
Okay.
If it's $3,000 a unit that it needs in the interior or whatever. So we will have you'll submit the T12 offering memorandum, any other data, right to our portal. You charge a $100 fee. Doesn't even cover the cost. The reason we put that in place is 5-6 years ago, we've always done this the last 8-9 years, but it just flooded with every deal that got spammed to them. Right, that was free. So I just wanted there to be a little skin in the game, so that we had serious people looking at it. Right. So once we do that, we always want the client to do their own underwriting, and we do not want them to share their underwriting with us. I want my team to start flat-footed, and then we let both groups do their own underwriting. We put them together and see if the stars align or there's differences. Then they hash those differences out. Where are we right? Where are you wrong? Or where are we wrong, or did we miss a little bit more of a rent bump or some other income that, we're human beings, right? So we hash that stuff out. Then our clients extrapolate from that NOI, with the year 1, year 2 operating forecast, and then they can get to what they're comfortable offering for that particular building.
Okay. Wow. So, man, when you think about property management, sometimes you think about that property manager coming in after the property has been acquired and then
that
managing
happens
from there.
I mean, we take transition of management as well. We
Right.
can't do that same process. But what I tell people that are not fully versed in the commercial space, but this is the same in the residential space, you make your money in real estate
when you buy
it.
Yeah.
So you need to know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
Good, bad, ugly. People ask me, well, do you like this? Somebody will say, hey, with this deal, do you like this? I'm like, what's the price? Oh, well, I don't know. Then I don't know if I like it or not. I mean, I like horribly conditioned buildings at the right price.
Right.
I like everything at the right price.
Right. Yeah.
I can fix this, that, or the other thing.
Right.
There's certain areas that I exclude if they're heavily gang or, a lot of crime or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be involved in that stuff because it's too hard to keep good employees in those areas.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about employees now, because you made a statement earlier that this is a people business. And you gave that analogy, I could have some weaknesses in my processes, but if I have the right people, it'll take care of itself. In this difficult labor market, which is extremely difficult today, I mean, they call it the Great Resignation.
Yes.
Right?
Certainly been challenging, yes.
Okay, so how are you meeting that challenge to find good quality people to work on these properties?
Well, over the last 2 years, we've invested heavily. We've built out an entire robust recruiting division of our company. Before, that wasn't necessarily, maybe it was needed. That's up for discussion, but it wasn't necessary for us to build organically. Right. I worked with this manager in the past. You get a $500 referral if you refer them to us, and they end up getting hired. You get an extra $200 2 months later if they stay, if they're still employed by us, and so forth. We used to just do it that way, and we were fully staffed. After COVID and stuff, we started filling breaks, and so we have fully dedicated recruiters. We have job fairs. We did a few of those in the past, maybe 1 or 2 a year. Now they're very regular based. Wow. There's a lot more social media stuff that we're doing before, when we got a little bit light on people, talk to a bunch of employees, tell them to bring people in. That's not enough. You can't get enough from that. And sometimes we'd post it at the office and now hiring. But no, we've had to open up 3, 4, 5 more avenues to get people just to come through the door to interview. Wow. But it's still very important, not to hire the wrong people. Right.
So that costs more.
That costs more. And I tell new entrepreneurs is, look, hire slowly, or be very diligent and all this stuff on the hiring. You still might get it wrong. Fire quickly. Right. Get that dude out, and I'm not going to cuss on your phone, on your thing, but get that dude out quickly, right?
I'm wondering what word you would have used instead of dude, but anyway.
Internally, I use different words.
It would be a different show. But no, and that's really good advice, because a lot of small businesses, including our business, struggling, trying to identify good quality help, hire that quality help because there's so much competition, and then retain it. Right. Because once you get quality people, guess what? Right. Everybody else wants to hire them too. Right. So the
only advice I can give you is, look, the hiring and all that, I can't give you a lot of. You probably don't have to be able to have 4 or 5 different avenues. Right. I mean, we have several hundred employees, so we have to have that. Right. But if you have an environment that people like going to work, and we have the core of our business is a grind. Right. But we make it fun. We're respectful with people. Right. I treat the make-ready guy picking up trash. I've always been like that since I can remember. Right. I treat them the same as I treat the VP of so-and-so that comes to visit me to have me manage his properties. Right. Just fundamentally treating everybody with human dignity. Right. And surprise, surprise, people want to stay, even if they're going to get a $3 or $4 bump somewhere else. Right, right. Now, when you start treating people like numbers or ants, Then it's just you just have to bid up.
So now let me ask you: in your business, the employees that you traditionally hire are, more on that maintenance side. Do you have any issues with undocumented workers that you have to deal with?
Yeah, I mean that's very prevalent in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
We use E-Verify.
Okay.
Over the last 2.5 years,
Mm-hmm.
For liability reasons, we had to go to E-Verify. So that is certainly a challenge. You know, we have that guy's a great maintenance guy, and then somebody says, well, before they kind of recruit them, they're like, well, do you have papers? No.
Yeah.
Well, then it's not possible for us to hire them.
Yeah.
I mean, so
you get in serious legal trouble.
Yeah, you can get serious. Where there's a bigger,
Yeah.
thing on our back than when we had 2,000 units and 30 employees.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that is a challenge. Absolutely.
And so those are things that those owners of commercial real estate properties who are entertaining bringing a property manager in to manage the business side of that asset. These are, that you're verifying that you have the right people. You have a culture to help retain those people.
And then the process.
And you have those business processes that are obviously proven successful because you have so many units under management. Now, you had mentioned earlier in our conversation prior to our show that you guys have come up with some technology that even further helps owners of commercial real estate. Tell us a little bit about that.
I have and also this is not with Weiner Multifamily per se, but we do have the basic app of Leak Aware, which Weiner Multifamily has rights to use for free, but and all of the clients do. But I've launched that into a premium Sentinel product. So we actually have hardware that wraps around each meter, and it counts the revolutions. And it has a lot of smart technology in it that it has algorithms and stuff. And that feeds to a cell relay. And so anytime that magnetic the meter is spinning anytime, even if it's it does 10 readings a second. So I mean it's doing 600 readings a minute, right? Anytime that never drops to zero in a 10-hour period, it flags a leak. It means it knows that there's even on I have a 300 unit deal that I own that has 1 meter. There's always in a 10-hour period a point where everybody's not flushing toilets and stuff.
Right.
And so, it's really saved me. I rolled out the demo in March of, I almost said this year, but last year. And by June, over the 1,400 units that I rolled it out on, I had cut my water/sewer bills by $22,000 a month.
Wow.
And it maintained
That's a new car every month.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's over a lot of units.
Yeah,
so.
well, still a lot. It's still money.
Well, think about that. 22,000. Say if it was 20, that's that's 240,000. Put a 5% cap rate on that.
Wow. Yeah, that's
$4.8 million in value.
That's pretty good that you've increased.
I'm not different than anybody else.
So the technology.
So it reads it. Yeah.
It tells you there is a leak.
Yes.
But it doesn't tell you where the leak is.
So when we go to install that technology on the property, we map every unit and it's a pretty simple process. Turn off the water and we go to the corners of the building. And we know every unit that's attached to that meter. So let's say, easy example, you have a 100-unit apartment complex. Let's say it has 3 meters, 33, 33, 33. It doesn't usually work out that way, but let's say that was it. We will shut the water off. We'll know this meter feeds these 33 units. They have a process to do that. Then we walk every single one of those units, and we put in the flow rate, toilet, flow rate, leak or no leak. All right. So we'll go in and do that, build the template for that property on all 100 units. Then and when you get the service, you'll also get your first leak report, right? And so on average, if we're looking at a 100-unit deal, there's going to be 60, 70 leaks.
Wow.
Some of them are drips, some are major. It'll distinguish between minor and major. So that's when we set it up. And then, so in our software, It goes and it there's dashboards for VPs, for asset managers, and then there's ones that the maintenance tech and the manager use, and regionals. We have different dashboards for all of them. So the maintenance guy will know there's a leak. It has a conditional formatted button, pops up on his phone. He clicks on it, takes him right to the units that are attached to that. He does a simple walkthrough, no leak, major leak. It has photo and video functionality and notes, right? What's nice about it is, you have a leak. They know what units it's attached to, and yes, boss, I took care of it. No, as an asset owner or as a VP of ops, I can look and be like, no, I'm looking in your audit. You're only 22% complete, or I can say, hey, it showed me a leak 2 days ago, and you still haven't started the audit. Oh no, I did no. I got a digital fingerprint here saying you didn't do that. As soon as there's a leak that's triggered, when they find a leak, it launches a fix audit as well. So it'll organize, put a whole list of where all the leaks are in those 33 units, and then it launches a fix audit, and then they have to go fix them. And when they're done, they got to take a photo. Now, this seems laborious. They got to fix leaks. At one point, they're going to need to fix leaks or not anyways.
Right.
And the point I'm making, without that accountability workflow element to it, without the VP or the asset manager or the owner knowing what's going on, good luck trying to get it fixed.
Wow.
So this helps you be able to track it, keep people accountable, and on a perfect deal. We had a 100 unit. They installed it in September. We didn't start selling it till about September to the market. They installed it September. Their bill wasn't outrageous. It was like $6,500 a month. We went in there. I think it wasn't a really bad performing property. It was, I think we found 35 leaks. Some of those could just be a drip. The most expensive ones are the running toilets, and obviously anything under slab. So he went in there. They used it. Within a month, they were down to no leaks. Over the 3 months after that, there was a pop of a leak. They went and audited it, got it fixed. He went from $6,500 to about $3,900. Wow. Now you think, it's $2,500, $2,000, $3,000, whatever. It's not that much.
$30,000 a year.
Or let's say it's 20.
Right.
20 and enterprise value of the business, right, of that building is not $20,000. That's cash in your pocket. It's great. But the bigger bang is when you're going to refinance with Charles, and you have on your NOI a positive $20,000 is what that's usually being able to borrow about $350,000 to $400,000 more in money, or to sell, right? It's 80% or 70% of that number, debt, but you go to sell it. So those are huge. They have a huge impact to wealth. And we always like to tell syndicators and stuff, a lot of them are on waterfalls. Right. Well, this influences the waterfall part of the equation a lot.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a no-brainer. I'm not a great marketing salesperson, and I'm not being humble on that. I just never sold software. So we're kind of on the first part of that. Part of it's getting on podcasts and social media. I know how to fix systems. I need not the best at getting it out there yet.
So let me ask you this. So that product, which seems to be a phenomenal product. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't have it if you own commercial real estate property. What does it cost?
There's a fee, So for the leak aware with the premium, it's $1,500 a meter, and it's going to be anywhere from $1 to $1.50 unit a month.
Okay, yeah.
But the ROI is gigantic.
And now does that include the monitoring, or is that just? Or is somebody at your company doing the monitoring and sending out the repair tech or the, maintenance guy to fix it?
It's automated.
Okay.
But we do have somebody, if we're looking at, our we have everything. We always obviously have all that information, and we're like, hey, this person hasn't addressed this in a week and a half. And we'll go let the owner know and go, Are you looking into it? Wow. But it'll send, and here in about 2 weeks, it'll send actual notifications. Yeah. Now, on that stuff, you don't want to overdo it, where every time there's a leak, the owner gets a notification. It'll drive them insane. And it just makes them become white noise. Yeah. So the big thing is we want it to be, we're going to suggest, you'll have toggles away, but we're going to suggest and have the defaults at, when it's not being addressed is when the owner needs to be involved. Right. Not every time there's a leak. Right?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, we've learned a lot about the property management business. Thank you so much for coming on. If you had to name the top 5 things that an owner should think about when they're getting ready to consider bringing in a property management company to manage their asset, what would those things be?
The top 5, I think it counts out to 5, but I'll just get you the top things that I think are important, right?
Okay.
So, you want to check in with their references, people that they work with, or they work for.
That's pretty common sense, right?
That's pretty common sense,
right.
And understand that, and even when you get the references, understand the personalities.
Right.
And it's great when the management company gives you references, but also if you have any network in the industry, get some that are not listed that that they're on.
Right.
It's pretty common sense.
Right.
Drive the properties. Drive the ones that they manage.
Wow.
But with the vision that, look, if I go into a very low income area, it's not going to look like an A property.
But you can at least compare it to the way other properties are being managed.
Bingo.
Right.
And sometimes but you can't lean on any one of these things. Sometimes they're just took over a property,
right.
And they're
always mitigating circumstances.
Yeah,
but what it does do is it gives you that list of questions to ask.
Correct.
Yeah, as you're going through that due diligence process.
And then number 3 is do they have a geographical presence in that area? So and
that's important because that means they're going to be able to bring in the right employees if they have a presence in that market.
And the dirty truth of property management is a lot of the success depends on unannounced visits from regional managers, directors, VPs, even the owner of the management company.
Right.
That kind of knowing that anybody can come by at any time.
Right.
For surprise, it keeps people in line, right? So you want them to have some sort of geographic presence there, even if it's like, hey, we expanded here, but we have a loss leader, we have a regional here.
Right.
They only have 3 properties. They don't have to have a huge presence.
Right.
But you need to know that they have dedicated staff, or even a staff person if it's small enough market, right? That can be there, see things, because the spreadsheets and the neat reports don't tell the whole story. You need to go to the property. You see it on Tuesday morning. Monday morning, it's okay if there's some trash in the morning as they're cleaning up from the weekend. You go in there and you see the manager come in late all the time. There's trash everywhere. Then because most of the time when there's problems on property, especially a stabilized property, people think they can get everything from the financials, but no, a lot of times the problems that you're creating today don't hit the financials till the next month or the month after.
Right.
You're move a bunch of people in quickly and then we're not qualified. Yeah, they pay the first month's rent and you pay the price 2-3 months from now.
Right.
People don't get up and move out because the property's trashy the first month, but if it's happening for a couple months, then they all move out. Then you have 20 move out at once.
Wow.
So it's something where you keep, you have so that's a very important element is that they have a geographic thing that they fit the culture of the class of building that you're going to buy. And when I say that, are you buying a property that is 1970s, workforce housing area? Now, if you go and get an A-class management company that they're going to have a beautiful office, a nice suit on, they do great on the towers, and they're not going to be able to efficiently run a business like that, right? And the vice versa could be said as well. When you a grit and you have a huge maintenance team because you're servicing maintenance heavy product, right? So everybody's got their specialty. So you want to make sure that, and it's not a binary, right? It's some have it when we have A properties, but they work in certain scenarios. A lot of times we turn them down, right? And we have B and C is our specialty, right? So geographic, class, references, meet with their team.
Who's going to be the boots on the ground?
Yeah, meet with as many of them as you can. right? So if you're meeting with the boots on the ground, the regional manager or the regional maintenance, you'll get the quality. And it's not, are they super nice and and dressed to, no, you get what the property is. You get a gist for, is this person competent? Are they going to be able to inspire employees under them to get things done? Do I smell the integrity, or do I smell the BS? That sort of thing. You have to use your own intuition. People business is based on the person you're evaluating too. There's no way of getting around that. If you're bad at evaluating people, it's probably not the right business to get into, right? And then, but then you go up the ladder, or maybe you start at the top and go the way down. It's typically somebody more at the senior levels doing the business development. You meet with them, you learn what they're about. Then you meet with the team that's going to be overseeing your management team. Then you meet with the management team.
Right. Okay.
That's very important.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a great fifth one, but I need to roll those all up together, and I'm sure 5 minutes after this conversation, I'll think of the fifth one, right?
Well, you've given us a lot to think about already. Yeah. In fact, I tell you what, it's great. We have so many people that are entering into this space for the first time. Many think they want to be an owner and a manager. And for some, that may be the right thing to do. Best idea. Perhaps they are cut from your cloth, where they come from that entrepreneurial family. They have that good instinct in terms of management. It could be the right thing for them. But for others, one of the things that in my business I recognize is I don't know everything. And we run, basically 3 different businesses here. We have an investment side where we go and get people to invest in our stuff. We have a commercial mortgage side, which is our primary business, where we originate commercial mortgage loans. Then we have a real estate development side. I'm probably pretty good on the investment side. I'm damn good on the mortgage side. That's my thing. I'm not that great on the development side, but we go and hire the right people, and so we have someone that runs our development side because they have the experience and know-how. And so the same thing is with regards to property management. You know what you're good at. If you're going to buy an asset and you have that ability to manage that asset, then absolutely you become the manager. But if the person does not have that management background, experience, know-how, have their thumb on the technology, know how to recruit the right people. If you don't have that,
it's the hardest part.
Yeah.
So you're managing one building,
they're managing.
The manager leaves, and you're out putting ads out. You're scrambling or in the office doing something you're probably not. I'm not good at leasing apartments. So when you have the big network, it's like, hey, this leasing assistant has to be over here for, and you're gonna have to be on one. You're gonna have one manager in this 200 unit for a couple days till we get somebody else. There's a lot of that sort of thing. Or, hey, can you reach out to your sister? She wanted a job, or your neighbor. We have that ability because we have the scale. It's the people part's the hardest part.
Yes.
The employment part, and especially we were just talking about that in this market.
Right.
And it's nearly impossible.
Right. Yeah.
To do it on a small scale now.
Yeah.
Now, when we're up to 15% unemployment or whatever, then you can find people easily.
Right.
But then you don't have the business for them to do, right?
Yeah. Ryan Weiner, Wehner Multifamily. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our show.
I appreciate you for letting me be here, and I super appreciate you inviting me here.
Well,
seriously, Charles, it's nice talking to you.
Well, great. It's going to be a phenomenal show. We're glad that you've been here. If people want to reach you, we're going to have your information on our little board or on the screen, so people can reach you. Maybe they want to know more about your technology, or perhaps they want to learn more about how they can work with you. But thank you so much for being on our show,
appreciate you.
And we look forward to having you on again at some point.
I'd love to be.
All right,
I really enjoyed it.
So thank you for being a part of our show this week, and we look forward to bringing another episode where we talk about our capital playbook. We teach you how to win at this game called commercial real estate.